I'm lighting a light in memory of Dom this Christmas. It was the anniversary of our first date. We got the actual diagnosis and that he was given 6 months. We actually met online. It's one of the dating apps. But he likes to say we met in a pub. Our first date was in a pub, so I wasn't technically wrong. We could talk. And we could talk for hours. Anything and everything. I mean, you look back and you go, surely we saw something. Surely there's had to be. But there was nothing. Nothing at all. It was just, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. He's fit, 43-year-old. This doesn't happen. But yeah, it does. The next day, we said, right, let's get married. Let's do this. There was no doubt in my mind that I wasn't going to stick with him. This is us. You can plan a wedding in 5 weeks, but we was also planning a funeral at the same time. We had one appointment in the morning that was planning his funeral and the appointment in the afternoon planning a wedding. It was hard, but that was our life. It was Dom's choice, obviously. We did delay the chemo by a couple of weeks so that we could get married and have a little bit of a weekend away, honeymoon type of thing. And then, so we'd been married about 10 days and then chemo started. The dog was a massive comfort to Dom when he was ill. So when Dom came home after chemo, he would lie on the sofa and the dog would just be curled up on the sofa next to him, tucked up in his knees. It was about 6 weeks before Dom passed that he could no longer manage the stairs. So it was at that point we needed the bed. And we got kind of cleared out the living room. I think we tried like a couple of nights where I went upstairs because he knew how shattered I was. But I couldn't rest. And then also when he needed me in the night, because at that point his voice had gone as well. So he couldn't, even trying to ring me, he couldn't get me. So after, I think it was just a couple of nights, like, we can't do this. I'm sleeping downstairs. So basically it was cushions off the sofa, wrapped up in a duvet, spent about 6 weeks on the floor next to him. I could see that he was going down. It's like, I need help here. This is more than what I can do. First phone call that the nurse rang, I was like, wow, she cares. You could feel it over the phone. It was like a hug over the phone. And as soon as I opened the door, it was just like, yes, you're here. And it was very much, we weren't alone. I obviously had the chat with the nurse and told her everything. And then I just whispered in his ear, she's all right, you'll be all right. So he's like, okay. So I think he was also then reassured that I could get the rest that I needed. It was the first time I'd been in my bed for 6 weeks. The difference having Treetops in was it's not being alone, or that feeling of not feeling alone. But it's just that reassurance and knowing that sort of someone cares. Dom's last night was just peaceful. We put some candles on, a little bit of the radio was on. And he was just sat next to his bed. The dog was asleep on the sofa and I had the chair next to Dom's bed. The Treetops nurse actually, as soon as she got on shift, she rang me, just to say, is everything okay? But say a couple of hours later, he was going. So I rang her again. I'm in bits at this point. And they just said, we're 10 minutes away. The moment that Dom went, it was peaceful, it was what he wanted. And I was just sat there holding his hand and talking to him. But the moment that he passed, the dog immediately woke up and jumped on the bed and was like pawing at his hand and nudging his hand. Dom was very adamant he didn't want to be forgotten. I'll be lighting a light in memory of Dom for this Christmas. By dedicating a light, you can help Treetops be there for families and people like me.